I have for you today a good friend of mine who's going to be talking to you about a concept that I think is really unique. It's called last mile for security. He's telling me about it. I get really excited, and he's on with us today. So stick around. I think you're going to learn something from him. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Hi, this is Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber. I want to welcome you to our discussion today. I have a guest, Srinivas Mukkamala, who is the General Manager and Senior Vice President over at Ivanti, where he's part of the Cybersecurity Business Unit. He's been in the industry a long time. We've been friends for years. A good technical guy and I think a good executive and knows quite a bit about vulnerability management and risk-based security. We're going to dig in, and in particular, I'm going to ask him about this concept of last mile that I think Ivanti is pioneering. It's a good idea. So, Shri, welcome to the discussion today. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Hey, in cybersecurity, your company is one of the great secrets. You guys are embedded in so much. So take a minute, just tell us just briefly, maybe the elevator speech on the company, and then you and I can dig into some technology. We can have some fun. But tell us about the company first.
So our team is all about everywhere workplace. That means a lot of things to a lot of people. Today, we have to take work where our employees are. It's the human theme. It's a human-centric approach. And what we have done over the years is it's all about experience, whether it's a device experience or a security experience or it's a service experience. It revolves around the user in a more personal centric approach with one theme: security, resilience, and at the same time automate as much as you can and empower users. So our team has been secure workplace from everywhere.
Since the pandemic, that's a theme that has like maybe tripled in importance. I'm guessing that most of your customers have moved from more traditional kind of compute environments to this work from everywhere. Did you find that kind of post-pandemic, most people realized that work from everywhere wasn't just a temporary, but maybe more permanent? Is that what you're seeing?
Absolutely. So Ivanti is fortunate that way, given the company's origins from being the patch management vendor, one of the ITSM vendors, one of the vendors that can discover. During the pandemic, everybody wanted to know, what assets do I have? How do I serve my customers? How do I ensure security beyond the perimeter we perceived we had? So that really allowed us to make the human centric approach and take a service angle to everything we do. So it's the service, but end of the day, the service is measured by experience. So it became very important for us. How do you measure the experience of your users when they're actually coming to work? And that truly resonated well, not only to the users themselves, but the execs and the organizations.
Now, you guys are pioneering a concept that I think is awesome. It's this concept of last mile. You and I were talking about it before the video. Why don't you share with the folks watching, what does that mean and how does it relate to like the real action that you take after you've gotten some visibility, say about a vulnerability or a breach or something? How do you guys fill in or connect the dots so that something actually gets done?
Absolutely. I'm very fond of our conversation way back when you said, Sri, it's great. You guys prioritize vulnerabilities. A lot of security tools alert on it from a post alert perspective. From a pre alert, we're still alerting saying that you have a vulnerability. But who is actually doing the work, right? It's not the security guy, it's the ops teams. So, what I found fascinating about Ivanti when I came over is they're one of the world's largest last mile companies. What I mean by that is when we find a pre alert, what are we looking for? We're looking for weaknesses, we're looking for unpatched systems, we're looking for configuration changes. Ivanti actually has two flagship products. One is the patch management in itself, and the other one is security controls. And that's great. I mean, I loved it, right? You're not about just reporting on it, you're actually taking actions. And when I dug in a little bit more, I said, what are we really doing today? Because that's a problem statement for every EDR company, for every vulnerability scanner, for every device vendor, for every telco. I call the customer modes. The companies that have a reach into hundreds and thousands of networks and devices. So they can report on problems, but they're waiting for somebody else to take the action. So our CEO's mission and our mission is everywhere workplace. Let's give the best experience with less friction. So then what we did, we actually partnered with several security vendors. If you look at Qualys, our partnership with Qualys on VMDR, the big R, it's all about resilience and remediation from your initial scan. They're revolutionizing the market, by the way. Today, if you look at their earnings calls, they're on millions of assets. The
Mhm.
R, the engine, is Ivanti. When you look at Sentinel One, we just announced it this year. From an EDR perspective, yes, I can detect and respond from not just denying, but you got to go still fix the root cause. That has become Ivanti. When you look at our Intel's announcement as a device manufacturer, we're actually putting this on embedding as you ship your device, and we're there from day one actually taking action. So with all these examples today, we partnered with almost 60 plus global vendors, who is who in security, who is who in telco. We actually not only do it for just traditional devices, we actually do it for mobile as well. And very proud of the mission of what we are trying to accomplish by securing the world in a proactive way, not reactive. We're not waiting for the attack to happen. We're taking a pre alert and a complete proactive approach.
I'm glad you said that because, a lot of times you and I would think of the big R in EDR as being a shift right, as being and there's definitely a component to what you do that's true. Like if I'm detecting a problem and I need to patch, then I patch. That's a responsive action. But I always think of you guys, and I suspect you probably describe the company as more shift left because most of the work that you do, like in terms of vulnerability management and other types of risk-based work that you're doing, it looks more preventive. So I have a sense that you guys are very balanced across that whole spectrum of shifting left and also being able to respond. Does that make sense? I mean, you really do have the full gamut there.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, in AppSec, we all kind of joke about shift left and shift right. I mean, we're barely getting to shift right, right? Uncovering apps, uncovering code, uncovering libraries. Log4j taught us a lesson. Do you even know what you have in your build of materials, right? So it's a complete gamut of a right. And we're saying, you know what, that's not working. Let's go back to your code commits and do a complete SBOM. I say great concepts. Now we all latched on to shift left, shift right from a software perspective. At Ivanti, we came back and looked at it and said, oh my God, look at what we do today. We actually help you discover your assets, catalog your assets, enumerate what's on those assets, and start looking for exposures. So it's the whole concept of asset discovery, enumeration, and exposure management, right? Your CMDB is becoming the hottest thing today. And that's been one of the biggest problems the industry still haven't figured out, whether it's app CMDB or device centric CMDB. And when you get to the cloud, it opens up a complete new angle of short lived cloud workloads and then APIs now, another frame of reference. So we do the discovery piece very, very well. Then what we have done over the years is the whole enumeration of it. What is on these devices? What are your exposures? And once I know the exposures, can I take an attacker's mindset to prioritize? Comes back to that right. Let's go fix them before somebody attacks. And the whole concept, Ed, when I started this work at Ivanti, we were joking, hey, you now find all these things, you're acting on it, you're cataloging them. You need a place to store them and manage your tickets. That's the whole ITSM piece. So the way I look at it is we are in between from a risk-based, either it's vulnerability management or patch management. We go to the left and we start looking at device discovery, your CMDB, your ITAM. And then when we come to the right, I look at our ITSM. And to put a bow on all this, we actually have access management. So kind of it gives you that full closed loop from access, building up the foundation to what do I have? Why do I have them? Who am I giving access to? And what is vulnerable? How do I patch them? How do I put controls? and completely manage them in your service manager.
Yeah, it's a nice suite. Now you snuck in the word cloud there quickly, so let's go back to cloud here. Talk to me about how you guys make use of the cloud. I know you do some cloud delivery, but also I'm guessing like 100% of your customers have some sort of journey going on, to either hybrid or full cloud. But what's been your experience there with your customers and public cloud services?
So our theme this year has been journey to the cloud, journey to the cloud, journey to the cloud. So what that really meant for us particularly is today every company around the globe is disrupting using digital technologies, whether it's a mom and pop or a Fortune 500. The companies that are not data centric, the companies that are not using digital, the companies that are not using ML. You want me say me AI? I'll stick to ML for now. The key there is if you're not disrupting using digitization, you're left behind. It's the FOMO of the thing. So we have seen majority of our customers embark on a cloud journey. So it's a hybrid. They still have on-prem and they're also moving to the cloud. It's very important for us. We want to make sure we serve our customers wherever they are. And what we have done this year is we took concentrated efforts to deliver from the cloud. We have three lines of business. We have unified endpoint management, we have security business, and we have service business. Every single on-prem product, what we did was we moved to the cloud and delivered from the cloud. There are three reasons why. It's better performance, better security, better reliability and freshness of the data. Now we can actually serve at machine speed and be a part of your operation rather than wait for the updates to be pushed onto your on-prem. You go figure out what it is and then you use it. So our journey from the cloud to the cloud has been very successful. So we're delivering whatever we do today on-prem from the cloud, and we're allowing our customers to actually move into the cloud in a secure fashion.
What we've seen at Tag Cyber is as companies go to hybrid, the requirement to prioritize goes way up. And you've always been good at that, like from a vulnerability perspective, because you've got this collage of workloads all over, and you really your head could spin around when you try to figure out what to do first, what to do second, and so on. And I think you guys are also pioneering some ideas in that area, like risk-based decision making and security and prioritization. Talk to me about how you guys handle that problem, certainly in the context of like basic hygiene or vulnerability management, things that you personally have been a pioneer at. How does that all work and how does that weave into the offer set?
So Ivanti gave us what I call a global platform. The roots, as you know, Ed, came from the United States government. Very thankful for the government who funded the research for us to be one of the first very few companies to talk about risk-based way back in 2008, 2009, and all along defining the space. So today, if you look at Department of Homeland Security, after Director Esterly took over, her whole concept was KEVs, known exploitable vulnerabilities. And there are enough binding orders talking about risk based approaches to remediation, right? And at Ivanti, if you take a look at what we do, we look at it as a pure data problem, solving a cybersecurity. A lot of people do the opposite. Oh, let's go solve a cybersecurity problem using the data. We look at the opposite way. With 40,000 customers, we have a global playing field. We get the telemetry that's enviable. So we're looking at three perspectives. First, do we have coverage from every known vulnerability ever released? Whether it's deep, dark, or surface, we make a catalog. We are always ahead of national vulnerability database. Then what we look for is a knowledge graph around every single vulnerability. What that in simple English is, did somebody take time to write an exploit? If somebody has written an exploit, is it a remote code executable? Is it a privilege escalation? Will it allow me to attack you from anywhere? Can I escalate my privileges? Then we start looking for, is it actively being used by the attacker groups? Is it part of the advanced persistent threat groups? Is ransomware using it? And are we seeing active chatter around it in the last 30 days? So we take this entire context. Everything can become an edge. The weakness, the vulnerability, the product, the impact, the sector. We dissect the data, and now we are able to help our customers based on sector specific what vulnerabilities they should be addressing first. And that's been very, very helpful, and our customers truly appreciate it. One thing we learned in the last 6 months, in the past, when we said, hey, this is a problem, go fix it, they used to ask, what is your attribution? How are you confident on this? We had to has prove the burden of proof. Today, I don't have to do much. We give the warning. 60 days later, DHS comes with a KVE alert and say, we said so. Here we go. So because it became a great validation for us, this is data centric approach. Here, the United States government is putting a binding order. Please listen to us. Let's be proactive.
Well, what do you think is the future here? Do you think that, I mean, you and I would both say this becomes certainly best practice for everyone, but you see some like would say machine learning, artificial intelligence assist with things like that? Is that something you guys are working on? Like what should we be looking forward to in this area in the next couple of years?
So take a data centric approach. That's what I tell a lot of young
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, and that's what I tell folks in the corporate, right? We ignored data for a long time. We all say we are a big data, but really it's not the big data, it's the small data that matters. When I say that, I mean, I jokingly say, hey, we have lots of big data. But the problem is we need to have that small data that matters. That's what the attacker is after. The attacker is not after the big data, he's after exactly those one-off elements that are truly helpful for him with precision, right? I mean, they identify the targets well. So for us to be defending this, what I call a dynamic, asymmetric, agile attacker and a threat, we got to adopt machine learning. We got to rely on data. And it boils down to have the comprehensiveness of the data, the freshness of the data. For ML and AI to work, you got to annotate. So it comes back to always talk to you about the 3Ds. And it's the data, it's the domain expertise, and the data model. The big D will define, can I annotate the data? Can I take the domain expertise, which is sparse in this industry, annotate that into the machines so we can reach out to the masses? We have to rely on ML. We have to take data as our North Star and really solve this dynamic threat.
Sri, for people who are watching right now who might have some interest in learning more and hearing from your team, what is the website the best place, or would there be other? Would that be the most natural place for them to get a briefing?
Absolutely. So we have a great website. We have lots of content. I know. Don't be surprised if you get lost on it, but website is a great place to go. You will find a lot of information, and then please send us a note. We're very quick at responding, and you'll get a response. And of course, I'm on active on social media. I mean, Tag is also active. They'll pass on the message, and you'll get a response.
Well, I want to thank you on behalf of our team at TAG and all the people watching. Thank you so much for making some time. I'm very proud of you. I've known you a long time. I'm very proud of all the accomplishments you have in this industry. And I know there's a lot more to come. So please keep up the good work. It's good for us to have people like you keeping us nice and secure.
Thank you, Ed. It's an honor. Always loved your guidance and advice. Thank you.
And thanks for your time. And for everybody else watching, we'll see you next time.